Welcome to week 2 of fantasy football. We saw a lot of crazy things in week 1, from Daniel Jones being a top 3 fantasy quarterback to Quentin Johnson being a top 3 fantasy wide receiver. But now that it's week 2, I'm going to give you my top 10 players at each position heading into week 2. All season long, we will be doing these fantasy football videos every single Wednesday, taking a look at this list. As you can see, we got quarterback, running back, wide receivers, tight ends, and defense and special teams. So I will put the top 10 in each tier list. So let's get right into it, starting with our quarterbacks. To start off our top 10, give me Patrick Mahomes as our first quarterback off the board at number 10. They're playing a Philadelphia team that they're very familiar with. You saw what Dak Prescott could do to that secondary. Really shaky at corner 2 with Adoree Jackson really struggling last week. This offense is not as powerful on the outside as it is as the Cowboys have, but that Eagles secondary has a lot of work to do. They're very young defense, and I feel like Patrick Mahomes is going to be, smart enough to pick them apart all game long. Next up, give me the guy that just beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, Justin Herbert. They play a Las Vegas Raiders team that, played a Patriots team that, Drake May struggled a little bit, still threw for over 200 yards, and I think Justin Herbert is having that season where he's really got to be that guy. Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson, Keenan Allen, he's got 3 targets that look like they can perform for him. Then you got Will Dissly and then Amarian Hampton and Najee Harris out the backfield, and we saw in that first game they were throwing the ball a lot. We was expecting Amarian Hampton to get a lot of touches, but Justin Herbert was throwing that ball down the field, so expect to see the same thing when he plays against the Raiders this week. Drake May and the Patriots play against the Dolphins this week, and we saw what Daniel Jones just did to the Dolphins. So I feel like at the 8th quarterback in our top 10, I don't know why I wouldn't put Drake May in this top 10. He's a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. I think they have a better team than the Colts, but we will see. I think this is a really good spot for Drake May to really succeed after we saw how that Dolphins defense performed last week. After taking a big L in week 1, Jared Goff bounces back against the Bears. We saw J.J. McCarthy carve them up in the 4th quarter, and I think the Bears, they're a little shaky right now defensively, offensively, the whole Bears, and I feel like Jared Goff, bounce back team, lines are really good. You got plenty of weapons across the field, so I feel like this is a great spot for Jared Goff. Next, give me Justin Fields against the Bills. We saw what Lamar Jackson did against the Bills. Justin Fields isn't Lamar Jackson, but, he's a similar type of player. He's going to run, he's going to throw the ball, and then we saw what Justin Fields did against a really good defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers. He absolutely carved him up with his legs and his arm, so be sure to make sure you tap into Justin Fields this week. To start off our top 5, give me Joe Burrow right here. Yes, it's going to be an interesting game against the Jags. I feel like the Jags got really much better this season, but Joe Burrow coming off 100 yards passing. Jamar Chase didn't get his touches. T. Higgins didn't get his touches. Chase Brown didn't get enough touches. I'm looking for him to absolutely air the ball out in this game. Josh Allen was our QB1 from week 1, and I expect him to have another good game against that Jets defense, because we saw what Aaron Rodgers did to that Jets defense, and this is Josh Allen. But my concern is that it could be a blowout game, because I think the Bills are that much better than the Jets. So I feel like maybe by the 4th quarter he might not be in the game, so that's why I have him at 4, but I'm still thinking he's putting up at least 20 to 25 points this week. And next, give me Thursday Night Football, Jaden Daniels against that Packers defense. The pass rush is going to be on. Micah Parsons is coming off that edge, but I don't know if the Packers can guard him when he starts to move his feet. I'm a little shaky on the Packers corners and what they got going on, but Jaden Daniels is definitely going to use his legs in this game to get outside the pocket with Micah Parsons and that defensive line rushing him. Now to the top 2, give me Jalen Hurts. This man plays very well against the Chiefs. I know it's not a Super Bowl game where he normally cooks, but even in the regular season games, he's had good success against the Chiefs when he's been fully healthy. So expect Jalen Hurts to have another good game, rushing touchdowns, passing touchdowns. I feel like he's going to get his receivers in the game with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So be ready for A.J. Brown and them boys to actually get the ball. And last but not least, Lamar Jackson's going to have to finish off our top 10 because, Lamar is literally him. I don't know when I'm going to have somebody that's not Lamar at number 1. It's the Browns. I know Myles Garrett and them boys had a really good defensive game against Joe Burrow, but Lamar Jackson is a different animal. So here's our top 10 quarterbacks. Lamar at 1, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Josh Allen, Burrow, Fields, Goff, Drake May, Justin Herbert, and Mahomes. Now time for running backs. I feel like a few of y'all might be a little disappointed in this list, but it's fine. This is just my opinion for week 2. Give me James Conner at 10. They play the Panthers this week. I think the Panthers defense is kind of mid, and I feel like it's going to be a high-scoring game between the Cardinals and the Panthers. Cardinals have really good offense, and I think Bryce Young and them get back on track this weekend. But I'm taking Josh Conner as my next running back. Give me Jonathan Taylor. I know they're playing the Broncos, but Jonathan Taylor's too good of a running back to even, be stopped. Like, he's still going to be a top 10 running back going into this week. So give me Jonathan Taylor against the Broncos. It don't matter. Next, we have arguably the best running back in the league, but that Chiefs defense does have a way of stopping good running backs, and I'm not sure if Saquon is going to go crazy this week, but it's Saquon at the end of the day, so he's obviously got to be in this top 10. I will see what happens because we saw Najee and Amarion Hampton really not carry for a whole lot of yards against the Chiefs in week 1, but this is a different animal when it comes to Saquon, so expect him to be used a lot in the passing game and, be able to run for, about 75 yards. Just should have a good game. Next, give me Chase Brown against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Another game I'm expecting to be high scoring, at least on the Bengals side. Not sure how much the Jags are going to do scoring, but I do expect the Burrow and them boys to get it started. Chase Brown is a PPR demon, gets a lot of catches out the backfield, and he should have an excellent game this week as well. Next, give me Josh Jacobs. The defense last year that the Commanders had was very mid, and Josh Jacobs is a great running back, and I feel like he's going to run all over this team tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football. First one of the year, TNF on Prime. Yes, sir. So I have a good feeling that Josh Jacobs is going to have a big game. Down to our top 5. This brother just got told that he's the number 1 on their team no matter what. Give me Travis Etienne. Tank Bigsby's gone, plays for the Eagles now. They got Tootin as his backup, but that's a rookie, so I don't know how much he's going to play. And Travis Etienne looked great week 1. He looked like he had that explosiveness again. He was catching passes. He was running the ball really well. So I'm excited to see Etienne, especially against his Bengals defense. Like, the Bengals defense played well against the Browns last week, but I don't know how consistent they can be, and I think Etienne is in a great spot to have a really good game. Now, Derrick Henry ran for 5,000 yards last week. Very good game. They play the Browns this week. We will see. I'm not too sure. That Browns defense seems pretty good after what they did to the Bengals. They probably could have won that game. But like I said with Saquon and JT, it's Derrick Henry at the end of the game. He's going to get his carries. He's going to get his touches. In the passing game, he's not as much as a threat. But once he sees that hole, he's literally to the freaking end zone every single time. Next, this dude is literally the entire offense for the 49ers. George Kittle's hurt. Juwan Jennings is questionable. We know Ayuk's hurt. So CMC is going to get a lot of production once again, whether it's he might get 6 receptions and have 15 to 20 carries, probably 100 total yards on offense, and they're playing the Saints. So they should score a few touchdowns with Derrick Henry. Next, give me Jahmyr Gibbs. Not the greatest first week. The Packers had that stuff on lock. That's why I was a little confused on how I felt about, the running backs for the Commanders, because they might not do a whole lot. Eckler probably wouldn't have made this list, but Jahmyr Gibbs, he's a guy, bro. At the end of the day, he's a guy. And last but not least, give me Bijan Robinson. They play the Vikings this week, and I think this game is going to be a high-scoring game. Very excited for this game. Second time J.J. McCarthy is going to be playing on primetime in his first 2 weeks, so I'm excited to see how he does. But Bijan, yeah, he showed me signs literally on the first drive last week that he's really going to be him this year. Start off with our wide receivers. Give me the Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown, coming in at the 10th spot for wide receivers. I like his matchup this week against the Bears. We saw Justin Jefferson able to make some plays towards the end of the game. And as I said, Jared Goff's going to be slanging that thing. So I like him in this spot this week. Then, give me Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is one of the better wide receivers in the league. They're playing against the Cowboys. And the Cowboys did a good job against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But I feel like their approach to the game is going to be a little bit different because they don't have to worry about a Saquon Barkley in the backfield. So I feel like they'll play a different coverage in the secondary, and Malik Neighbors should get some touches. And then give me the team he's playing against, CeeDee Lamb. He's not dropping 4 or 3 passes this week. He's coming hungry this week. he's ready to really take that step and be like, okay, that's on me, guys. Let me go and kill this Giants secondary. And I feel like Dak Prescott's going to have another good game throwing CeeDee Lamb the ball. Next up at 7, give me JSN heading into this week. DK is playing against Seattle for the first time. I know they're not on the same team anymore, but there's going to be a lot of hype around that. And we saw how Garrett Wilson had a really good game against the Steelers last week with their 3 cornerback ones. So expect JSN in the slot to be working, get a lot of catches. Sam Darnold needs to be airing that ball out because I think this is going to be another high-scoring game this week. I think every game is going to be high-scoring this week for some reason. Coming in outside of the top 5, we got one of the best receivers in the league in Justin Jefferson playing against the Falcons, who gave up a lot of yards to Ibuka. Mike Evans was open a lot, so I'm expecting Justin Jefferson, a much better wide receiver than both of them, to really get the ball a lot this week. Falcons secondary hasn't looked all that great. They do have Jesse Bates as a safety, but I feel like Justin Jefferson's going to find a way to get a lot of touches this week. Starting off with the top 5, a lot of people aren't going to like this one, bro, but give me A.J. Brown. Welcome back, A.J. Brown. 1 catch for 8 yards in week 1. I feel like Philly's going to come out. The first pass of the game is going to A.J. Brown. 100%, whether it's a slant, whether it's an over route, whether it's a go route, the first pass of the game is probably going to A.J. Brown because he didn't get the ball at all last week. He's going to be rated inner excellence on the sideline, but we'll see. I think AJ's in due for a good game against this Chiefs defense because that Chiefs defense secondary looked very beatable last week. They was getting cooked by Quentin Johnson, Ladd McConkey, and Keenan Allen. Now they have to face AJ and Devontae. Another player I would start that's not on this list is Devontae Smith because I feel like Jalen Hurts is finally going to actually air the ball out a little bit because that's what he does against the Chiefs. The Chiefs play the Eagles to throw the ball, so that's what's probably going to happen. Next, give me Puka. He had like 10 catches in week 1. Another good matchup for him against the Titans. That secondary didn't look all that good last week either. Courtland Sutton had a touchdown. Marvin Mims had a couple I think maybe 2 drops. I know he definitely had a drop where Bo Nix overthrew him, but there was a lot of openings for that team. So expect Puka to get 8 to 10 catches once again. BTJ. Come on, man. Against that Bengals secondary? The Bengals secondary, man. Come on, bro. That's free chalupas, man. That's free chalupas. That's easy tubs, easy dubs. Travis Hunter was getting a lot of the targets. I feel like BTJ is going to go back to be the #1 option because he wasn't getting as many targets last week as he should have. He did score a touchdown rushing, but expect BTJ to have a very good game against this Bengals secondary. And that leaves our final 2 picks. Give me Nico Collins. Midweek one. Let's just be honest. The entire Texans team was midweek 1, but the Bucs and the Texans, that is literally a game of points. Points. That's why I was a little like, dang, maybe I should have Bucky Irving in the running back list, but this is a game of points. There's going to be a lot of points scored in this game, and I expect Nico Collins to find the end zone at some point. And last but not least, you guys know who is on the way to #1. It's got to be Jamar Chase, arguably the best wide receiver in the league. Like I've been saying this whole video, the Bengals are going to air the ball out. He didn't get his touches last week. Similar thing to A.J. Brown. They're going to feed him. They're going to find him the ball, and it's going to be a very interesting game. But with all that being said, let's get to tight ends and see what the top tight ends is looking like. With George Kittle going down, there's a lot of, like, what's the next tight end to do, whatever. This isn't a waiver wires video, but if waiver wires are still open, I know it's Wednesday when this video comes out, but if it's still available, man, go ahead and grab you Harold Fanning Jr. I know Njoku's a tight end there, but they were throwing to both tight ends. Both tight ends got a lot of work this week, and I really expect them to get more week next week because he's a safety valve. They're going to throw him the rock. After that, give me everybody's favorite tight end in the league, Kyle Pitts. Like I said, the Falcons and the Vikings should be a high-scoring game. We like that. Next, give me Tucker Kraft tomorrow night against the Mudda-sucking Commanders. I like this matchup again. Tucker Kraft, very underrated tight end, but I'm a fan of his, chat. I am a fan of his. I think he's going to have an outstanding game. Next, give me the other Browns tight end in David Njoku. Like I said, safety valve. Joe Flacco's feeding his tight end so far. They probably got about 10 to 15 targets combined. Even Dylan Sampson out the backfield was getting a lot of targets. But yeah, expect Njoku to get a lot of touches. And as I've been saying, I don't know how many times I got to say it, high-scoring games. We got the Vikings, chat. We have the Vikings playing another game. TJ Hawkinson should get a lot of catches this week. Bad week 1, we'll be honest. Didn't get a lot of targets week 1. It's fine. That's just how it is. To start off our top 5, give me Travis Kelce. It feels like he's really the only viable option on that offense with Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy out. Marquise Brown played well. Juju played well. Pacheco, Kareem Hunt didn't really do a whole lot. So I feel like Travis Kelce should get a lot of targets this week. Next, give me Sam Laporta. Lions going to be airing the ball out. We have the Lions in every position. All four of these, they're going to be airing the ball out. Should see a lot of targets. Next, a guy that also had a terrible game is Mark Andrews' bounce back game. Should find Mark Andrews a lot. With Isaiah likely out, I feel like he's going to find him. I don't know if Derrick Henry runs the ball as much. He's still going to get a lot of yards. It's Derrick Henry, but we will see. Then give me Brock Bowers. Little concerned about Brock Bowers coming off that injury. Not 100% sure if he plays. I haven't seen any reports. That's how I also felt about Drake London on why I didn't include him in wide receivers, because we're unsure if he's going to play in this game. But give me Brock Bowers, and then last but not least, of course, Trey McBride with that Cardinals offense. Finding, Kyler Murray's going to find him all game, and I think they're going to have a really good game against that Panthers defense. Brenton Strange caught a touchdown for the Jags last week against that Panthers defense. I can see Trey McBride getting in the end zone after. And to finish off, let's get into defense and special teams. Probably one of the hardest things to predict. When it comes to defense and special teams, especially when I play fantasy, me in particular, I'm a week-by-week defensive guy. Like, I'll drop a defense and pick up a new one just based off who they play. And that is how I'm kind of predicting it right now. The Titans are my first team. I know they play the Rams, but the Rams didn't do a whole lot on offense last week. Scored, 14 points. And I feel like, if they're going to play this Titans team, they put up 21 points. I feel like that Titans defense is good enough to get a couple stops, maybe force a turnover, and that's a couple points for you. But as defense at the end of the day, this is extremely difficult to pick. Next, give me the Steelers defense playing against the Seahawks. Another team that didn't score a whole lot of points in week one. I got to base off what happened in week one. The Steelers team has normally a good defense, and they're playing a Seahawks team. The offense didn't look too good against a team in the 49ers who also have a defense. And then give me Seattle, whose defense looked incredible last week. Even though they lost, if Tariq Woolen makes 2 plays that game, that is a completely different game, and 1 touchdown is stopped for sure, because that last drive should never happen if Tariq Woolen was playing properly. But I really like the secondary that Seattle has, and I think they could ball out this season. Next, give me the Rams defense. They play the Titans, a team that struggled a lot against that Broncos offense. Kicked, 4 field goals? This could be a low-scoring game, I know the Rams have a high-powered offense against that Titans defense, but I can easily see this being a low-scoring game. Next, give me the Patriots. Their logo's a little cut off, but the Patriots play the Dolphins, and we saw how the Dolphins looked last week, so why would I expect the Dolphins to look any bit different? Because the Patriots gave up, 21 points or 17 points to the Raiders, who I think the Raiders probably have a better offense right now than the Dolphins have shown us. So give me the Patriots. Then give me the Broncos against the Colts. I know that Danny Dimes went crazy, but this Broncos defense is a little bit different. If Bo Nix doesn't turn the ball over and set them up in good field position, I don't know how many times this team's going to score besides Jonathan Taylor rushing the ball and getting some yards. Then we got Giants-Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys defense against that Giants offense. I think only Malik Neighbors is the only threat on their offense, and the Cowboys defense did a good job to stop the Eagles last week. The Cowboys defense is trash, but the Giants are even more trash than the Cowboys defense, so that's that. Then Baltimore are playing the Browns. I don't think the Browns are any good. They should be able to stop them this week. Will they score maybe a couple touchdowns? For sure. But this Ravens defense should come in and play really well. Now I have a hot take at 2. Because I've said that this is going to be a good game. I got the Cardinals defense. Cardinals defense looked somewhat decent against a very bad Saints team. So a very bad Panthers team with a better quarterback, though. We will see. This could be a hot take. The Panthers could end up dropping 35 on them. So I'm going to be honest. I have them here, but I'm probably not going to play them myself. It's just predictions, man. It's just predictions. You got to guess. And last but not least, the team that plays the Saints. Give me the San Francisco 49ers. They play the Saints this week in week 1, so I'm, not expecting a whole lot out of them because it's going to be this could be a low-scoring game because Purdy's hurt, no George Kittle, no Juwan Jennings. I already said that. Then the Saints offense is very mediocre, so look for that defense of the 49ers to really ball out this week. So that's how the top 10 for each position is going to round up. Kickers, man. Kickers are just as bad to figure out as defenses. Start whatever kicker you want, man. Whatever team you think is going to score a lot of points, go ahead and start them. But I appreciate you guys for watching. We're going to have these videos every single Wednesday throughout the entire fantasy football season. So make sure you stay tuned and share it with your friends. Like the video, comment who you guys think is going to be a sleeper pick, best waiver wires. Send me your fantasy teams, comment your fantasy teams. Man, I'm talking all fantasy, especially on Wednesdays. And if you guys want to subscribe, I'd appreciate that a lot. If you do subscribe, feel free to put that on post notifications. I'll see you guys tomorrow for my week 2 picks. And we're out of here. Peace.